Hey guys, my name is Brian Leni. I'm the editor of Junior Soccer View Premium. Today I have for you an update on FPX Nickel. FPX has been a big winner for premium subscribers over the last year, returning over 800% since the recommendation. With me, I have CEO Martin Turenne. Martin, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Brian. How are you?
Great. Good to have you. Okay, so there's a lot going on in Decar this summer. First, you have a 10-hole program, 10-hole, 2,700-meter infill drill program at Baptiste, aimed at converting those inferred ounces into indicated, which is preparation for your PFS. Further, and definitely more exciting, you have some exploration work, and this is focusing on your top-tier drill targets. But before we get into the specifics about the exploration work, I have to ask, you have 35 years of projected mine life at Baptiste. Why explore for more nickel? What's your vision for the Decar nickel district?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So the overall vision here for the district, first of all, is to demonstrate that it is in fact district scale, which in our view means multiple deposits, multiple generations of mining. As you said, Baptiste already supports at least a 35-year mine life. We think in the end it'll actually be longer than that. However, and we're very serious about moving Baptiste forward into pre-feasibility and ultimately into the permitting and into the definitive feasibility study phase. However, before we get too far down that path, we owe it to ourselves to understand what else we have at the project. And in particular, if we have the ability to define other deposits that are potentially larger, or the bigger prize being if they're potentially higher grade than Baptiste. So Baptiste, covers only 1% of the overall land package that we control at Decar. And so we really do owe it to ourselves to kind of explore the remaining of the land package before we get too far down the development timeline. But ultimately what we'd like to demonstrate with this additional exploration work, this additional drilling and reconnaissance work, is that we have something at Decar that is truly sort of Sudbury scale in its nature.
That's a great vision. I totally see it. I think this is well worth the time and money. Arguably, the best drill target in the summer's program is the Van target. Can you give us an outline of the target and what you have planned for this summer's program?
Yeah, sounds good. So first, again, just to kind of reorient everyone to where we are. So the Decar project is located here in central British Columbia, 80 kilometers west of Mount Milligan, which is a very similar scale operating copper gold mine to what we have envisioned at Decar ultimately. And within Decar, there are several targets, the most advanced of which, as I mentioned earlier, is Baptiste. That is a PEA stage deposit. We produced a very positive PEA for that deposit last year. 6 kilometers north of Baptiste, we've identified this Van target. So the Van target has been identified on the basis of very promising outcrop of bedrock at surface. That is really the key tool that we use to identify drill targets with this style of nickel mineralization. You really do need that outcropping bedrock. And so the footprint of outcropping bedrock at Van is just under 3 square kilometers. And that in fact makes this target larger in scale than what we've defined at Baptiste. The question often is, well, why haven't we drilled Van in the past? Why has all the drilling been done primarily at Baptiste? And that's because this area of Van, which we can see kind of in this satellite image, was formerly covered by dense forest. And having that dense forest in place really limited our ability to get in there and to take those samples of outcropping bedrock. Well, there's a lot of forestry activity in this region, a lot of clear-cut activity that you can see quite clearly in this satellite image. These areas here showing large areas of clear-cut. And so it's only in more recent years that we've been able to actually get into Van and take those surface samples. And to find a target now with Van that is actually larger in profile than Baptiste and has higher grade at surface than what we see at Baptiste. And so really Van is far more prospective now and is a better drill target now than Baptiste was before it was first drilled.
Wow, that's excellent. So next to Van, you have 7 other target areas, including 2 advanced targets in SID and B. Both of which have seen, while limited, some drilling in the past, and they're located just a few kilometers, you saw, just north of the Baptiste deposit. Can you touch on the past results at SID and B, and then explain what you have planned in this summer's program there?
Yeah, good question as well. So yeah, almost all that drilling historically, virtually all of it has been done at Baptiste. However, in prior seasons, in back to 2010 and 2011, a total of 3 holes were put into the B and the SID targets. And you can see here on this screen that these holes intersected long lengths of economic nickel mineralization, 263 meters of 0.132% DTR nickel, and in the SID target up to 282 meters of 0.143% nickel. For perspective, those grades are about close to 20% higher than the average grade at Baptiste. And so the B target and SID clearly have, the makings of economic deposits in their own right. You can also see in this image that they're arguably quite a bit smaller than Baptiste and to the target at Van. So some of the work that we'll be doing this year is really between B and SID, some surface work to see if we can demonstrate some continuity between these two targets and to show the potential that these may actually be sort of connected below surface and form a much larger deposit target than what we've previously shown.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Excellent. And finally, you have 5 other target areas, targets, what you call targets 1 through 5. Can you take us through those last targets and what you might have planned for them?
Yeah, so that you're really speaking to our most recent news release there. So again, to encapsulate, we're doing that infill drilling at Baptiste to convert that remaining indicated tonnage, inferred tonnage to the indicated category. We're doing the maiden drill program at Van, but over and above that, and we're doing that connecting work between B and SID. Over and above that, we've identified 5 highly prospective new areas that we believe could potentially host drill-ready targets. So these areas have been identified on the basis of 2 things. One is a strong magnetic response. The nickel mineral, the nickel iron alloy awaroite that we target with these styles of deposits is highly magnetic. And so that magnetic response provides a good sort of first pass for target definition. But beyond that, these areas, similar to what we've seen at Van, have more recently become available to us for surface sampling of outcrop due to that logging activity. It really is remarkable the number, the dozens of logging trucks that are coming in and out of this area really every day, transporting lumber out of our property and the surrounding areas. And so what that logging activity has allowed us to do is to go in and to take those surface samples really for the first time in all of these 5 areas. So beyond the 4 targets that we already know that we have, where we have strong showings of nickel mineralization, either at surface or in previous drilling, these 5 additional areas, again, speak to that kind of massive scale potential that we see to increase the nickel endowment here. I mean, Baptiste on its own is already ranked as the 3rd largest undeveloped nickel deposit in the world. So the potential that we see to add significantly beyond that is certainly something that we think has a lot of strategic value. We've demonstrated with that previous PEA in September of 2020 that Baptiste is highly robust on its own. And so this is just about showing the market that upside, and with the real prize being the potential to discover even higher grade deposits elsewhere within the land package.
Oh, that's excellent. I really see not only the value proposition in what you have in Baptiste, but I really do see that expansionary potential. And I do think that's huge. Like finding another sub-area in BC, I think, means a lot to major mining companies as they look to expand their nickel production. And I think that's why you guys will be one of those companies that's taken over in that wave of M&A that I think is ahead of us. Martin, this is great stuff. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for your time, Brian. Appreciate it.